The trap in the forest. The sun was low over the alien jungle. Long red shadows stretched between tall trees. Strange birds with glowing feathers flew through the thick leaves. Soft winds moved the plants, and every sound felt alive. Lyra, a young, herbivorous alien girl, carefully stepped over the forest floor. Her skin was soft and pale green, her eyes wide and bright like the morning sky. She had long ears that twitched with every sound. In her small hands, she held a woven bag full of roots and fruits. She was smiling. Today, she had found enough food for her small shelter. She did not know danger was close. Lyra hummed a soft song as she reached for another blue fruit growing low to the ground, but the moment her fingers touched it, snap. A rope pulled tight around her ankle and yanked her into the air. She screamed, dropping her bag. The world spun upside down. She dangled, swinging from a branch, trapped like a caught animal. "Help! Help me!" she cried, twisting and turning, trying to free her leg. Her heart raced. Her people told stories about such traps. They were old tales about monsters, about humans. Then she saw him. Out of the trees, a man stepped into the clearing. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and covered in dirt and rough clothes. His face was half hidden behind a beard, and his eyes were cold and quiet like a hunter. A metal weapon hung on his side. His hands were strong, and in one of them, he held a knife. Lyra froze. Her breath caught in her throat. She had never seen a human before, but her people whispered about them. Meat-eaters, they said, wild and dangerous. It was said that humans cooked aliens like her, slowly, with fire and salt. Lyra shook her head and shouted in a shaky voice, Please don't. Eat me. I'm not meat. I'm a plant eater. I taste bad. I'm thin and dirty and not tasty at all." The human stopped walking. He tilted his head, as if confused by her words. He didn't say anything. Lyra trembled. "I'll go. I won't tell anyone you caught me. Please let me go." Still no answer. He slowly walked toward the rope holding her, knife still in hand. Tears welled up in Lyra's eyes. "Please, please, don't cook me." With one quick motion, he cut the rope. Lyra fell to the ground with a hard thud. She gasped, curling, into a ball, expecting the worst. But the man didn't attack. Instead, he turned around and started walking back toward the trees. Then he stopped and looked over his shoulder. "Can you walk?" Lyra blinked. What? He pointed to her leg. "You're not broken. Get up, come with me, or stay here, your choice." Then he walked away. Lyra's mind raced. Was this another trick? A trap inside a trap? But if she stayed here alone, wild beasts might come, and he didn't eat her. Not yet. She stood up slowly. Her ankle hurt, but not badly. She picked up her bag, held it close, and followed him. He didn't speak as they walked. The jungle grew thicker, darker. Strange sounds came from the shadows. Lyra's ears twitched, and she looked around nervously. Her people never came this deep. After a long walk, they reached a small clearing. There was a handmade camp, metal sheets, old parts, a small fire, and tools. The human knelt down near the fire and started boiling something. Lyra stood at the edge, not moving. He looked up. "Sit." She sat, hugging her knees. After a few minutes, he handed her a small metal cup with water. She stared at it. "Is this safe?" He rolled his eyes. "It's water. Drink it or not. Up to you." She sipped carefully. It was warm, but clean. Then, he pulled out a piece of cooked meat and held it toward her. Lyra backed away quickly, shaking her head. "No, no meat. I'm a herbivore. My body can't take that." He raised an eyebrow. "I wasn't going to force you." She lowered her head. "Sorry. I'm just scared." There was silence for a moment. Then she whispered, "Why didn't you eat me?" He looked into the fire. "Because I'm not a monster." She didn't believe him fully. Not yet. But maybe, just maybe, this human was different. and far away, hidden in the trees, something else watched them. Yellow eyes blinked in the dark. Lyra didn't know it yet, but being caught in that trap may have saved her life. The humans' camp. The first thing Lyra smelled was smoke and cooked flesh. Her stomach turned as she stepped into the strange camp. Metal pieces lay scattered like bones. Rusted parts, wires, and fire-blackened stones formed the place this human called home. There were no flowers, no soft grass, just sharp tools and the scent of meat. The human didn't look back as he walked toward the fire pit. Lyra followed slowly, her hands still shaking. She kept her eyes on the ground, afraid he might change his mind and turn into the monster she feared. Then she heard something. A sound like crackling fat over flame. Her eyes shot up. On a flat rock above the fire, a thin slice of meat sizzled. She gasped softly and stepped back. The human finally looked at her. "You act like you've never seen food." "That's not food to me," she said quickly. "That's a dead thing." He sat down beside the fire and flipped the meat with a metal tool. "It was trying to kill me this morning, so now it feeds me." She said nothing. Her legs felt weak. She sat at the edge of the camp, far from the fire. He didn't offer her meat again. Instead, he pulled something from a bag, a small round fruit. He tossed it toward her. Lyra caught it clumsily. It was yellow and soft. She sniffed it. "This is safe." The human shrugged. "You're the plant eater, you tell me." She bit into it. Sweet. Warm. Her shoulders relaxed, just a little. Still her eyes kept going back to the knife on his belt. Later, as the sun set and the shadows stretched long, Lyra watched the human work. He was fixing something, a strange metal box with blinking lights. His hands were strong but careful, like a builder. Not like a hunter. She dared to ask, "What are you doing?" "Repairing the signal jammer," he said without looking up. "What's that?" He paused, then looked at her. "It keeps my camp invisible. From above. From machines. From people." Lyra frowned. "Why hide?" He stared at her for a moment, then went back to his work. "I don't trust anyone. Not even your own kind." "No." Silence again. She picked at the fruit skin in her hand. "You saved me. You were in my trap. You let me go." He said nothing. Lyra looked around the camp again. There were signs, scratched photos on metal, broken tech parts, a small stone with a child's name carved into it, Mila. She asked softly, "Was she your daughter?" The man's hands froze. Then he packed up his tools. "You ask a lot of questions." Lyra lowered her eyes. "Sorry." He stood up, walked past her, and entered a small tent made of dark cloth and metal sheets. As he disappeared inside, she whispered, "I just want to understand you." That night, Lyra sat by the dying fire. The stars above were cold and sharp. She hugged her knees and listened. The jungle was never silent. But something felt wrong. Too quiet. Then she heard it. A growl. Not from the human's tent. From the trees. Lyra's ears shot up. Her body froze. Something heavy moved just beyond the camp's edge. She opened her mouth to call for the human, when something lunged from the dark, a long black shadow with glowing green eyes. Lyra screamed. Before the creature reached her, the human burst from his tent, gun in hand. Bang! The loud sound echoed through the jungle. The beast howled and ran back into the woods. Lyra fell backward, heart racing, chest heaving. The human stood over her, weapon still raised. He looked into the dark trees, then slowly lowered the gun. He looked at her. "You okay?" She nodded fast. I think so." He helped her up. "That wasn't hunting you," he muttered. "It was watching me, for days." Lyra's voice shook. "Why?" The human's eyes narrowed. Because something out here doesn't want me alive. He looked around, alert. Then he grabbed his tools and threw dirt over the fire. We move at first light, he said. This place isn't safe anymore. Lyra's voice was small. Where will we go? He looked at her. Somewhere they can't find either of us. Night visitors. The night had teeth. Even the stars seemed to hide behind dark clouds, and the wind stopped moving, like it was holding its breath. Lyra couldn't sleep. She sat under a metal sheet near the edge of the humans' camp, hugging her, knees, eyes wide open. Every sound felt louder, every rustle, every crack of a twig. She kept hearing that growl in her head, that creature. It had come for her. No, not just her. It had come for him too. Inside the tent, the human slept with one eye open, weapon in reach. His name, still unknown to her, remained a mystery. He had saved her, again. But why? He didn't like talking. He didn't like trusting. Yet he hadn't left her behind. Suddenly, a sharp clicking sound echoed in the darkness. Lyra's ears twitched. Her head turned. Nothing. She stood slowly, heart pounding, click, 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 this time closer. Not one creature. More than one. She backed up, but a branch snapped behind her. She spun around, yellow eyes in the dark. Too many. She screamed. The tent ripped open. The human burst out barefoot, holding a glowing stick with a trigger. His face was calm but cold. Get behind me, he ordered. Lyra obeyed. Then the monsters stepped into the firelight. Tall, long-limbed creatures, skin like dark stone, mouths filled with needle teeth. Their chests rose and fell with animal hunger. They sniffed the air and locked onto Lyra. They're scent hunters, the human muttered. They want you. Why? Lyra cried. I don't taste good, I swear. They're not after food, he said. They're trackers. Someone sent them. One of the creatures growled low and leapt forward. Bang! The weapon roared. The beast fell, twitching, black blood spilling on the dirt. But the others didn't stop. 3 more charged. The human grabbed Lyra's hand and ran. Go! Into the jungle! They crashed through the trees. Lyra ran as fast as she could, thorns cutting her legs, branches whipping her face. The human stopped and tossed a small metal ball behind them. Boom! A flash of light and sound shook the forest. Lyra fell to the ground, covering her ears. Her head rang. He helped her up. Keep moving. After what felt like forever, they reached a wide rock wall. A small cave opened at the bottom. The human pushed her inside and followed, breathing hard. He lit a small light from his belt. The cave was damp and tight, but safe, for now. Lyra collapsed, chest heaving. They were like nightmares. They're bred for tracking, he said, loading. His weapon again. And killing. She looked at him. You said someone sent them? He nodded. Someone knows you're alive. And they want you back. Lyra whispered. I don't want to go back. My own people left me. They said I was too soft. Too slow. They said I would only slow them down. The human stared at her. Then they're fools. She blinked. What? He sat down beside the cave wall. You're quiet. Careful. You noticed the creatures before I did. That saved our lives. She said nothing, but her heart warmed. Then she asked softly, What about you? Why are you here alone? He didn't answer. Instead, he pulled out a worn photo from his pocket. A young girl, alien like Lyra, but smiling, laughing, sitting on a human man's shoulders. Lyra looked closer. Is that your daughter? He nodded once. She's gone now, he said quietly. War took her. Aliens did. Lyra's voice broke. I'm sorry. He put the photo away. I didn't help you because I trust aliens. I helped you because you reminded me of her. Lyra covered her mouth. Her chest tightened. Then a noise echoed through the cave, a faint metallic beep. The human jumped up. "We have to move. That's a beacon. The creatures marked you." "Marked me?" He nodded. "You're glowing to their scanners. We stay. Here we die." Lyra stood fast. "Then where?" He checked his gear. "There's one place they can't scan." "Where?" He looked her in the eyes. "The ruins, forbidden ground, no tech works there." She nodded even though fear crept up her spine. "Let's go." As they stepped out of the cave, the jungle was alive again. But now, with silent watchers. Lyra didn't know if she'd survive the next night, but one thing was clear. This human would not leave her behind. The forbidden secret. The path to the ruins was silent, but the silence felt wrong. The birds didn't sing. The air was thick. Even the wind held back its breath. It was as if the forest itself was watching them. Lyra followed the human closely, her legs sore, her feet muddy, but her heart steady. Each step took them deeper into uncharted ground. Her people called this place the grave of broken gods. No one was supposed to enter here, but the human walked like he had been here before. "Are you sure this is the right way?" she asked. Voice soft. He didn't answer. He simply pulled back a curtain of vines and revealed it. A wide stone gate, cracked and covered in moss, stood before them. Alien symbols glowed faintly along the top, vines wrapped around statues of forgotten creatures. But in the center, a metal door, human-made, half buried in stone. Lyra froze. "This isn't just a ruin. This is a crash site." The man nodded. "A long time ago, before your people ruled this planet, we tried to live here." He knelt near the door and entered a code on a rusty panel. It sparked, and the door creaked open. Inside, cold air and dust waited. The place inside was dark, and strange metal walls, broken lights, empty crates and screens full of dead data. Lyra stayed close, her hand brushing against a table covered in strange symbols. Then she saw it. A nameplate, covered in dust. She wiped it clean. It read, "Unit, Mila's Pod, property of specialist, Jacob Wren." She turned to him slowly. "Your name is Jacob?" He hesitated, then nodded. She stepped back. "This was your daughter's place?" He walked forward slowly, eyes fixed on the metal floor. "We lived here. Me, Mila, and a few others. We were part of a peaceful colony." Lyra whispered, "What happened?" He clenched his fists. "Your people didn't believe that peace was real. They attacked, took the others. Mila ran into the jungle. I never found her again." She looked down. I didn't know." Jacob turned to her, his face hard. "I thought every alien was my enemy, until I met you." As they moved deeper inside, Lyra touched a panel. It blinked to life. A soft hologram appeared. A recording. A little alien girl's voice filled the room. "Daddy says I'll learn to fly ships one day. I want to fly with the stars," and Lyra gasped. "That voice." Jacob smiled sadly. "That's her." Suddenly the image shifted. Explosions. Screams. A message blinked. "Emergency lockdown, evacuate." Lyra's eyes widened. "You never left?" Jacob shook his head. "I stayed, hoping she'd come back, hoping I'd find her." She walked up to him and said softly, "You protected me, like you wished someone had protected her." He didn't answer. He just looked away. Then something strange happened. A light blinked on a wall console. It glowed faint red, then turned green. "Access granted," it said in a robotic voice. "DNA match detected, category, herbivore class. Welcome, subject Lyra." Jacob spun around. "What did you touch?" I didn't mean to," she stuttered. Then the wall slid open, revealing a hidden chamber. Inside, glowing pods lined the walls. Each one held alien DNA samples glowing in tubes. Symbols marked them. Experimental, hybrid research, genetic integration. Jacob's eyes went cold. This wasn't just a colony. This was a lab. Lyra read the labels and backed away. They were mixing human and alien DNA. One pod flickered on. Inside was a scan of her own body. Her mouth went dry. Why am I in here? Jacob stepped closer to the screen. His voice was low. They knew your kind would come here. Long before they attacked. Lyra's heart raced. Are you saying I'm a test subject? He didn't answer. But the question now hung between them like fire. Was Lyra's birth natural or part of a plan? Outside the ruins, something shifted in the jungle. A hidden drone blinked to life. A signal was sent. She had been found. Again. The choice. She's not just any girl. She's proof. Jacob stood frozen in front of the glowing pod that displayed Lyra's DNA. His breath was slow, heavy, and filled with disbelief. The cold light from the ruined lab painted lines across his tired face. Lyra stepped away from the screen, her voice shaking. What does it mean, Jacob? Why am I here? He didn't look at her. His hand touched the side of the glass pod. Inside, it showed her life before even she remembered it. Her cells, her species, her origin. Jacob finally whispered, You were made, not just born. Lyra's knees weakened. No. My mother. She raised me. She may have raised you, he said slowly. But someone else made you. The room was silent except for the hum of long-dead machines waking up again. Jacob turned toward her. You don't belong to them anymore, Lyra. But they'll come for me, she said. If they know I survived, if they know I was part of this lab, they'll hunt you, he finished. Not just because of who you are, but because of what you might become. Suddenly, a loud ping echoed from outside. A warning light blinked red on the control panel. Jacob rushed to it. Motion detected. Multiple life forms. Closing fast. Lyra gasped. They found us? Jacob's voice dropped. No. They tracked you. He slammed his fist on the console. Damn it, I should have seen this coming. He turned to Lyra. They won't ask questions. They'll shoot first. You're a threat to them now. I didn't ask for this, she cried. I never wanted to be anyone's weapon. Jacob looked at her, truly looked. She wasn't dangerous. She wasn't evil. She was just a girl, scared, shaking, and lost. And she reminded him of Mila. He grabbed his bag, tossed her a small fruit pouch, and checked his rifle. We don't have much time. I know a tunnel out back that leads to the cliff. We can escape. Lyra held her breath. Or you can give me to them. He stopped cold. She stepped closer. If they take me, they might leave you alone. You'll be safe. Jacob stared at her hard. That's not the kind of man I am. You were, she whispered. He clenched his jaw. I was, but not anymore. Then he made his choice. Jacob picked up a small metallic disc and pressed it to her arm. It glowed, then disappeared under her skin. What is that? Lyra asked. He met her eyes. A blocker. It hides your signal for 6 hours. After that, they'll see you again. We need to be far away by then. Tears filled her eyes. Why are you doing this? Because once, he said quietly, someone didn't save my daughter. Lyra looked at him like she was seeing him for the first time. And then, boom. The front of the lab exploded inward. Fire, smoke, and soldiers rushed in with glowing rifles. Jacob grabbed her hand. Run! They raced down the hidden tunnel. Dust fell from above as the old metal wall shook from gunfire. Behind them, voices shouted, Subject Lyra is alive. Don't let the human escape. She's top priority. Lyra stumbled. Jacob pulled her up. They reached the end of the tunnel, a sealed hatch. He smashed the lock open, pushed it up, and fresh jungle air hit their faces. But ahead was a steep, rocky hill. No cover, no trees, just open sky. And ships were already circling above. Jacob looked at her. They had seconds to choose. Go, Lyra said. Leave me, I'll give myself up. Just don't die for me. Jacob shook his head slowly. You're not a thing, Lyra, you're a person. He gripped her shoulder. We finish this together. And then he ran, dragging her up the slope, as gunfire lit the air. Somewhere far above, a general watched the chase unfold. He narrowed his eyes at the screen. She's more valuable than they know. Bring her back alive. Kill the human. But Lyra wasn't just running anymore. She was fighting to live. And Jacob Wren had made his choice. He would burn the whole galaxy before letting them take her. Run or die. The jungle didn't welcome them, this time. It fought them. Branches clawed at Lyra's face as she and Jacob ran through thick brush. Thorns sliced their clothes. Roots tripped their feet. The sky above was no longer blue. It burned red with chasing drones and low-flying ships. Jacob held her wrist tight. "Don't stop!" "But," she gasped, lungs burning. "Run or die," he shouted back. Behind them, soldiers were closing in, fast, loud, merciless. They wore black armor, their visors glowing blue. Their orders were clear: capture the alien girl, kill the human. The ground shook. A missile exploded a tree nearby, fire flashing in all directions. Lyra screamed, covering her head as debris rained down. Her ears rang. Her heart pounded. Jacob grabbed her and pulled her into a small ravine. "We go underground." He kicked open a metal hatch half buried under vines. Old escape tunnels, from the colony days. Lyra hesitated. "What if they trap us inside?" Jacob didn't answer. He pushed her in first, then dropped in after her. The hatch slammed shut. Darkness. Only his small wrist light showed the narrow tunnel ahead, wet walls, rusted pipes, and echoes of war long past. As they ran through the tight passage, Lyra whispered, "How long can we keep running?" Jacob breathed hard. "Long enough to disappear." "But where?" He stopped and pointed to a faded map on the wall. "Here, Hidden Valley. Tech can't reach it. They won't find us there." She studied, his face in the dim light. It was bruised, tired, but determined. "You're really risking everything for me?" He looked at her. "I made peace with death a long time ago, but I never made peace with regret." Suddenly, clang. A door ahead slammed shut. Gas hissed through the vents. Lyra panicked. "They sealed us in." Jacob covered her face with his jacket. "Hold your breath." He pulled out a sharp tool and slashed at the wall panel, sparks flying. The wires inside were ancient, but his hands moved fast. He hotwired the system. Click! The door slid open just in time. They burst through and kept running. Minutes later, they reached the tunnel's end, a steel door leading outside. Jacob turned. "Ready?" Lyra nodded. He kicked the door open, and they emerged onto a cliff edge. Below, thick fog, a waterfall, and the faint shape of the hidden valley he'd spoken of. But above, 2 enemy dropships hovered, scanning. "They're already here," Lyra whispered. Jacob scanned the sky. "Then we go where they can't follow." He stepped forward and jumped off the cliff. Lyra's heart stopped. "Jacob!" But then, whoosh, a hidden glider snapped open behind his back. He floated through the mist like a ghost. He shouted, "Up! Jump, Lyra! Trust me!" She hesitated. The drop looked endless. The ships were closing in. She took one breath and jumped. The air tore past her face. Her heart leapt into her throat. Then her glider deployed. She screamed as she floated, down beside Jacob, wind whipping around her, fog hiding them from above. When they landed, she collapsed, shaking. "That was insane!" Jacob helped her up. "We're alive, that's all that matters." They stood at the edge of a wide valley, untouched, green, peaceful. Flowers bloomed, birds sang, no machines, no noise, no war. Lyra whispered, "It's beautiful." Jacob gave a tired smile. "And it's ours now. For as long as we can hold it." But as they began to walk deeper into the valley, a small noise made Lyra freeze. A crack. A beep. Jacob turned, and in the trees behind them, someone else was already there, watching, waiting, armed. A new kind of bond. The birds had stopped singing. That was the first sign. Jacob raised his hand, motioning Lyra to freeze. Her foot hovered above a patch of soft soil, but she didn't move. Not even a breath. The valley was quiet. Too quiet. Then came the whisper of footsteps. Not machines, not wild beasts, soldiers. Jacob spun and pushed Lyra behind a tree. Stay hidden, no matter what happens. But no matter what, he repeated, and stepped forward with his weapon raised. From the mist, 3 black-armored soldiers emerged, their guns aimed at Jacob. One of them stepped forward and spoke with a cold voice. You were warned, human. Hand over the girl. Jacob didn't flinch. You'll have to kill me, the soldier shrugged. As you wish. He raised his gun. But before he could shoot, a vine wrapped around his leg. He stumbled. Then the trees moved. Dozens of small alien creatures emerged. Valley dwellers. They were Lyra's kind, or close to them. They had long ears, soft skin, and glowing eyes, but they were older, hidden, silent watchers of the valley. They surrounded the soldiers with handmade weapons, sharp wood, stones, fire. Lyra stepped out from behind the tree. Stop. The creatures turned to her. Then they bowed. Jacob blinked. They know you? Lyra stepped forward. I was born from their soil. I feel it now. Their blood runs in mine. One of the soldiers tried to raise his gun again. Jacob shot first. Other 2 dropped their weapons. A few minutes later, the enemy ship above circled, then flew away. Defeated. Jacob and Lyra stood by the waterfall. She looked up at him. You didn't leave me, even when you had every reason to. He looked out across the valley. You're more than what they made you. You chose to be better. That's what matters. She smiled, eyes wet. And you're not the monster I feared. He chuckled. Took you long enough to figure that out. Then she held out a hand. He looked at it. Not a handshake. Not a rescue. But a bond. She said, let's build something here. A life. Together. Jacob took her hand. Not as a soldier. Not as a protector. He looked her in the eye. But as family. Years later, the legend would spread of a lost alien girl who was saved by the man she once feared, of a valley where machines couldn't rule, of a bond that was stronger than fear, war, or blood. A new kind of bond, human and alien, side by side.